through where we were pre-2023, and then what have we done, and then what do we have in stock. I mean May, where are we? You see, Nigeria is Volkswagen, Africa, modern, and then advanced economy. They are with this Tesla. So, just to appreciate what Mr. President has done, it doesn't matter how good you are as a driver. It doesn't matter how good you are as a geographer, that you know the location. It doesn't matter how you know how to drive, whether through close or experience. If you are driving B2, it is very possible, or it is impossible that you will outspace the Tesla. And that is the tax law that we have. Before now, this is where we are. So it doesn't matter how you want to do, it doesn't matter what you want to do. And that is why Mr. President took the bold decision to reform the whole tax law. And the effort of that is just to make us move from using Volkswagen to Tesla, which by special grace of Almighty God, we will start effective January 1st, 2026. Now, no, just first one. Next slide. Now, where are we just in time of overall in May 2023? You see the first one that we have negative trade balance. And that is why, because we are importing the PMS, we are exporting the crude. You see multiple exchange rates. You have a window, you have many windows. That is where we are, those period. You have 7 billion unmet demand. This is those people that have deposited Naira, waiting for dollar to do their normal business. You have almost net to zero if you do net reserves. The tax to GDP as at the time was at less than 10%. You have subsidy, which is unsustainable as at the time. Then you have almost zero or negative FAC inflow, meaning that those agencies of government that are supposed to actually bring money to the Federation, they are telling the Federation that they are owing them as a result of sustainable subsidy that we were doing. As at the time, the budget deficit is so high. We have over 30 trillion in ways and means, which is just printing money without corresponding production or economic activity to actually back it, which actually led to what we eventually have, which you call devaluation. This is what's on ground. You have markets of friendly policy, high interest rates, poverty, and decent job is not there for us. And then we have weak policy coordination. And then inefficient financial management. And when I state this, it's not, and that is why I give you the first picture. It is not about last administration. It's not about anything. And that's what I said, that if the only thing you have is B2, it doesn't matter how good you are as a driver, you cannot effectively compete with someone that is riding in Tesla or in G-Wagon. And that is the situation. So it's not about the president or past administration. No, I'm just talking about the system. Before I go to next slide, so I will want us to just in 1 minute stand up for my colleagues that we lost their life in the last week inferno, May. So 4 of our gallant colleagues lost their life in active service. I pray Almighty God accept their soul and protect their family and bless Nigeria. Thank you. May 2023. And if you look at our debt to GDP, our revenue that we collect to debt payment is around 97% as it were then. And Mr. President took the bold decision that this cannot continue. I cannot continue to train driver or constructing the road when the only thing I have is P2. So the only thing to do is, first of all, to change the vehicle. And that is the essence of reform. Though painful at the beginning, but we begin to see the results. If you see the one I painted in green, you will see today that we are having trade surplus as far as balance of payment is concerned. Today you have unified exchange rate. And what has that one done for us? You will see it in this level. Because I need to break it down, because a lot of people don't understand what it really means. When you say you have unified exchange rate, just imagine and put yourself, you are in America, working for $1. In official rate, the $1 is 4 naira, is 4.60, but the real value of that dollar is 1,500. Who do you think? So if you send the money or you do proper transaction through the normal channels, it will be exchanged at 4.60. If you do it in other channels, it is 1.5. How many people will go to normal channels? And that is the situation we have. That's why you are having negative reserves. Because nobody, even those that legitimately are earning this foreign exchange that should help our reserves, refuse, because the currency is not expressing its own, the currency is not really expressing their own value. And that is what you see. Forward says, like what we have 7 billion of Met cleared. You don't hear about airports that they've paid, their money is trapped in Nigeria, they are stopping. This is what reform has brought. Today, tax to GDP is around 13.5%. When you have our reserves now, we can actually import for the next 9 months without exhausting our reserve. Compared to the situation we had as at that time, that actually the net, if you put our reserve, is negative. Wasteful subsidy has gone, and it has gone forever. Not only that we stop ways and means, which is printing of money without corresponding production activities, we started paying down on what we met. And you can see the crude has gone up, rating, because the fundamentals has been properly set. Definitely the rating agency, you've seen a lot of difference that we have, because now we fix the fundamentals of the economy, thanks to Mr. President. And then market-friendly policy, you can see the investment, you see that people are coming, which is what you have in the foreign reserve, which is well represented. So there is one education that I need to give, because a lot of people will talk, because I will soon get to numbers, and people will tell you that why you have number is because you've devalued currency, you've done this, you've done that. But most especially when you hear this from those people you think should know, there is difference between currency devaluation and currency depreciation. Because currency is just demand and supply. When you have your currency, that the demand for your currency is less than the supply of the foreign currency, that is what you say the currency has depreciated. When there is official reduction in the value of your currency compared to any currency, that is when they say devaluation, and that only happens when you fix exchange rate. In Nigeria, that exchange rate is float, that is, it is purely demand and supply. There is nothing called devaluation. It is currency depreciation, which is natural economic process that you have when demand is more than supply. So it is economic indices, which is, you will see in the kind of results that we will have. We are not saying that everything has changed in the last 2 years, because I told you it's a family thing. We have something that Mr. President is still focusing on to make sure that we achieve increasing the job opportunity for us, and that is what you see in the quality of education that we're producing. That is why you have student loan. Increasing the job opportunity is increasing the people's ability to actually increase their own purchasing power. That is why you have credit score. Increasing job opportunities, this big infrastructure that Mr. President is put in place. If you see Lagos, Calabar, Sokoto, Badagry, all these things is just coming in that direction. Now, we need to know, because a lot of questions I hear, a lot of people ask, is that they just ask questions, are you better than the way you are 2 years ago? And then you see a lot of people say, no, no, no. But the question really is that if we've not done anything, what could have happened? It's better to paint that picture and people realize what has been done. And then imagine that we've not done anything. What do you think will have happened? Trade deficit will continue to increase. Now we will have lost the count of windows that we will have had concerning the exchange rate if it's not floated. Parallel markets you will have. Those people that will have deposited naira waiting for dollar will have increased to 10 billion. Tax to GDP will continue to be less than 10%. Subsidy will have collapsed, because before we stopped it, as we all know, not only that NMPC, as it were then, are using all their earnings to import at subsidized price, they are started committing future production into importing, and it's like eating our tomorrow just to survive today. Only God knows where we would have been if not for the courage of Mr. President. And then deficit will have gone. And then if we continue printing the money the way we are, possibly we will have reached 50 trillion as at today. And what that means, and it has happened before, if you go to Zimbabwe, so the inflation rate will have been in trillion if not for the courage of Mr. President. And then market uncertainty and inconsistency will continue, because the less you, the more you hold your currency against real value, the more people will continue to exit the market. And at that point in time, thank God for Mr. President. Only God knows where Nigeria will have been. So I have to paint this picture to show where we are coming from and what we are doing. And just to put it, it's like you made the building, you want to lay the, you want to rebuild, and then you have to lay the foundation, remove the roof, and try to extract what are the good material in those buildings. That is what Mr. President has been doing in the last 2 years, which we've seen the result. This is overall for fiscal landscape that we met on ground, what we've done, and what it could have been. Imagine we've not done that. Now, just to come back and put figure to it, because this is the core. If you look at what we have here, last year, our target was 21.6 trillion, because I want to put number into it now. And this year target is 25.2 trillion, which is the collection that is expected from federal inland revenue. And put it in number, what does it mean? It means that I must, to meet this target, I must always collect minimum of 16.4%, more than what I collect the same minute, the same seconds, the same hour, the same day, the same month last year. So anytime I'm doing that, it means I'm moving towards meeting the target. But when you look at the overall, as at August, which I'm sharing with you, is that you discover that we are 40.8% what we did last year. And then if the target is 16.4%, today you are already at 40.8%. So now, if I want to segregate that to oil taxes and non-oil taxes. And why is it important? Because to really test the resilience of your economy, to really test the extent of your diversification, to really test the capacity, your sustainability, it is what you do with non-oil. Because why? Whether the oil price or the way you extract it is totally outside your control. If the world market today is $200 per barrel, you will see oil income goes up without any work from us here. The same thing if you work from day to night and the oil price is just $10 per barrel, the oil price will go down. But what really tests and show what you do is actually what you do with your non-oil, because it is not all the country that are resource-based. So the people actually run country based on diversified economy output, which is non-oil. If you look at that, you will see that we are trending. This is roughly 50% above the target. And just imagine that I have 4 months left, and I just need to do 60%, and I'm above 50%. So those people that understand, like Mr. President does, that is where the statement comes. And you can see that we are trending towards this. This is federal inland revenue collection. This is where we are. And if I do month by month, compared to the last year, you will see that there is no month that we are not far ahead. Now, if you look at the original presentation, the background I set, now, because you have correct vehicle, the middle one, because by January 1st, by God's grace, we will get to Tesla mode. Because we use executive orders, we use all those things to do. And that is why you see the improvement. You remember I told you about the fact inflow, the trade deficit and everything. And that is where you see it. Compare month in by month. This is what you have. And then as we are going, you will see that the future is very bright to us. Now, this is, the one I show you is federal government collection. Now, I'm now showing you what is the total federation. This include what happened to us. If I just do a snapshot of a month, because this is not total to total, I just pick a month, which is comparable month. In May 2023, which is the first month that we have, how much did we collect from NNPC that month? You will see it's nil, negative. Even as at then, we were owing NNPC subsidy payments and many other payments they said they've done on our behalf. And that is what you see when I say negative outflow. It's just that I don't want to put how much, as at that time, we are owing NNPC, including traders that are bringing in products that we are being subsidized. And that is why we cannot thank Mr. President enough for that courage to actually put us on a sustainable path that can actually lead to development. If you look at UPRC, which is royalty collection, you will see that it's 125 billion. In September, it is 745 billion. The increase is roughly 500. And that is oil production increase that I mentioned when I was giving you. I'm putting figure. And why this one is important, most especially for us here, is to understand. I will not say people should not do politics or being political, but for you, that you have it as a duty to actually educate people to know that we are here just to a little bit more than 2 years, and the decision that we've taken rightly, this is the result. If you look at oil, which is tax, you see the increase. But when you look at the total accretion to federation as at May 2023 is 711 billion. That is what we meant. As of September, which is last month, you see the total accretion is 3.6 trillion. That is increase of 411%, which is just as a result of the economic reform decision that Mr. President has taken. And then when you look at this, you will say, oh, how, what happens? And that is what you hear. whether you are in state government and everything, go check. I was Commissioner of Finance before. They used to come to Abuja to say bailout for them to be able to pay salary, not infrastructure. I don't know, you are the one writing paper and everything. How many of these state governors have you heard that they even come for bailout, even loan? Because if you look at this one, there is no state government, including federal government, that are not collecting more than double of what we've had. Now, if I put it in just in graphs, you will see. And then, why is this a good? Why is it good news for us? Like I explained to you, that the only thing that tests the resilience or sustainability of any nation is the extent of your diversification. How much can you actually generate from what you do that are within your control? If you see the bar, you will see non-oil. In May, if you check, we have 150 billion from non-oil in May 2023. From non-oil in September 2025, we have 1 trillion. 1 trillion. And that is the effect of people believing and trusting in your system. People believing and trusting that your economy plan is in the right direction. And that is what you see in what we have here. And that you see the report that just came out from the Bureau of Statistics about the growth in GDP. This is where it is being measured. And these are the figures that I will not lie. And you see, for the first time in the history, the sharing last month for all the states stood at 2.2 trillion. And to put it in perspective, the total revenue that we had when we came, if you look at it, is 700. That is the beginning. Now, you can see the movement, which is the result of what we're doing. Now, so how are we doing it? That is what I've just explained. What we've done using executive order just to put us into that car after the B2. And then with your help, we've now put ourselves in Tesla mode. By God's grace, effective January 1, we will be in Tesla mode. And that is what you see. That by that time, we will have harmonized all the taxes, reduction in corporate tax rates, budget and spending reforms. Mr. President just finished meeting now with National Assembly to make sure that now that the fundamental is set, how do we have or continue to have the budget that works for all Nigeria? So what should we expect? Like I said, for businesses, you see them there, for household and for government. Most importantly, if you look at number 3, for government, we will have fiscal sustainability, which is what actually tests the strength of any viable nation. Thank you very much. I will now open for questions or any specific thing.
Please.
Stop printing, and then the whole loan is taken as federal government loan. And you know we are paying principal, we are paying interest. So the loan, and that is why the stability in the system. You don't have the pressure on exchange rate because in all pillars of the real economic indices are firmly grounded. So it's not about how much, it is about the fact that it is well recognized in federal government book and as part of the loan that has interest and that we are paying back. And that is what I mean by we stopped it. Not only that we stopped it, we are servicing the loan. And when you say you service the loan, what it means that you pay capital, you pay interest depending on the approved tenor of that interest. That is what it means. My sister from my right, thank you for your good question. And it is the right time to check. Because without want to throw any jibe, well, what is the component of a budget of a country? So you have your expenditure, you have your revenue, and you have loan in all budget. So if my expenditure for this year is 100,000, and my plan is that 80 will be from my revenue and I will borrow 20. And I've done revenue of 90 and I'm borrowing according to what I have in my budget of borrowing 10. So what is the problem in that? And another thing that people should understand, borrowing is not a problem. Don't forget that banks are part of our economic ecosystem. There is no country or an individual in the world that survives based on its own income. Don't forget that when government borrows from banks, we pay interest. It's from that interest they pay their salary. It is from the salary that bank pays that they pay taxes to state government. It is from this profit, difference between deposit and lending, that give them profit that I collect tax from. So when you say you go for lending, what anybody, anywhere, is that you go for sustainable. And that is why you see what Mr. President or Minister of Finance, have you ever had Minister of Finance say that he's borrowing to pay salary or to do anything? And why do you do it? I'll give you a typical example. Look at this structure that we are in. Imagine that it has not been built the year it was built. How much will it cost today? So you borrow in order to beat their cost in the future. That's one. Secondly, you borrow because of what we call matching concept in business, most especially when you have continuity. Anything that I will use that will go beyond my lifetime, why do I need to use my own time to do it? So when you borrow to do road and you collect taxes in the future for everybody that is using that road to pay their own fair share. So when you see we borrow, it is part of economic plan. And you, any company or any country that will grow has to borrow, because it is part of the ecosystem of a viable nation. So when those people that are just container economics, they say they borrow, they do things, I look at them. And you will see that as much as you invite me, because sometimes you look at those people that want to engage you. And do they really ask the right question? Or do they even understand, or they are also downloading what people are downloading on WhatsApp? And, and they are asking questions. So when Mr. President said we met or we are doing well in revenue and say, hey, why are they borrowing? Is borrowing not part of the budget we submitted to National Assembly? Is it not what is approved? Are we borrowing outside what is approved? But you know, most of them, they find it difficult to just check what goes on, and thank God that people are here to do that. Now, the last question before we go to the next set is the commencement on the law. If you look at it, we have 4 tax acts. One is Tax Act, which is law. The other one is Tax Administration, which what shows how do you administer. The other one is Nigeria Revenue Service, and the other one is Joint Tax Board. Now, if you are as an accountant, CIT, company income tax, is on preceding year basis. What does that mean? It is the profit you make this year that will tax next year. Now, federal government time, our year starts from January to December. So if you are changing law that has to do with historical, for you to make it work, because Mr. President is a planner, is a strategist, he understands this because it's what he has done before, is that it is better you start execution or commencement of tax acts in January, because that is your year. But the other administrative one become effect from the day Mr. President signs, because normally we could have done that differently in another way. That could have been done. So the other tax, apart from tax acts and tax administration, take effective 1st of January. But the other one, because it's just changing law that has nothing to do with the time, that one thing. And then when you talk about the when the name will be changed and everything, honestly, effective from the day Mr. President has signed, will become Nigeria Revenue Service. So you understand, from the day that so as it stands today, we are Nigeria Revenue Service because it has been put into effect. And if you look at our internal workings, you will see that that is what we've done. So we will take other questions. The last one.
Yes. Before I call the next person, will be from Silverbird. I have the question online.
Okay.
One Chooks, there's a Chooks OD is asking. Oh, Chooks, okay.
Nigeria operates a fiscal federation, meaning that there are some activities that are for states and some for federal government. Personal income tax is exclusive right of state internal revenue services, except for those people that are armed forces and even those that stay in Abuja pays to Abuja IRS. But we have joint tax board that coordinate, and our own is just to advise on the kind of template. If you look at the new law, both in joint tax board and also even Nigeria tax law, we've simplified the way this is going to be done. And very soon, I know the sensitization people, including my brother here, they will soon be armed properly to educate people on what needs to be done. On the fiscal responsibility that you spoke about the states and federal government, honestly, I believe that there may be more improvement that is expected, but it is not what we will do that will put plan in place to separate what federal is doing and what state government is doing. Now, we have a NEC, which is joint committee headed by Vice President, where both state and federal government relate and consult on what we do. And I think they are doing well there. There will always be room for improvement in anything we do as human, and I think that is being done. Now that we've solved greater problem, so the only thing we will continue to do now is to train people how to drive Tesla, how to do good road for Tesla, instead of training them how to manage B2. So you can see that it's a huge jump that we put in place. And then with your help, I know you will help us train proper driver and also check them whether they are not violating the rule and they are not taking one-way traffic. So I think that, and then you talk about the ease of doing business. One, if you look at Mr. President's decision to reform the tax law, that is the first thing. Because before now, you have probably 97 kind of taxes that a business must file, whether from local government, from states, from group, from a lot. With the tax bill, that has gone, and it has gone forever. That is the first one. Two is the clarity. Because the law you have, imagine the stamp duty law of 1937 when there was no internet. How do you interpret that? And that is what put body. So what Mr. President has done by tax law is to help the business to run and take orders from them. And why is that important for us? If you listen to Mr. President, he will tell you that I'm not ready to tax poverty. I want to tax prosperity. I'm not focusing on seed. I want to focus on the fruit. The best way to do that is to water the tree so that we have better fruit. And that is when they say the Nigeria Revenue Service, our own is revenue collection. So the law is very clear. I collect 30% at least today from your profit. If you make 100, I will take 30. If you make 200, I will take 60. If you make 300, I will take 90. If I want to make more, I must help you to make more. And that is why you see that Mr. President's focus is to make business viable in Nigeria. And that is what you are seeing in the result. We've not changed tax law. We've not changed anything. And you are seeing the collection. Because not only that people are seeing what we are using their money for, apart from politics, where you see some people. People are really seeing what we are using their money for. And that is why you see compliance, voluntary compliance from companies, from individuals. And when you look at a lot of digitalization and automation that are coming on board by this next year, single window, where when you want to, if you place order on Amazon today, you only pay and the phone comes to you. The same thing is coming to our imports, or even exports. Mr. President is focusing on making sure that we have export-led economy, because now the fundamental is right, and that is the focus. So when you look at that, you will see that under the leadership of Mr. President, ease of doing business is top priority, and we showed that. So I will not allow anybody to know how I'm collecting it. So the only thing is that if you want to know, the recruitment portal will be so it will be very difficult to tell you how we are doing it, but God is helping us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I believe it's been a very mutually engaging exercise. We have come to the end.
I said you don't need a TIN number to operate your bank account. The only unique identity required, and which will become mandatory, which has already stated in the NIMSI law, is NIN. When you have it, TIN automatically comes to you. And I know from the last work they've done, they've actually produced TIN number for all the people that possess the NIN. So it is automatic. And what you would need in your bank is your NIN, not your TIN number.